their make-believe government, the disgruntled folks turned their focus on taking over ABC and the people's treasury from those who contributed to it. Fortunately, Dr. Chita busted all their lies in trade by that group of comrades. He made the best decision to quit their ranks, describing the entire cabal as an enterprise of hate and lies. He spoke to the conscience of our struggle. He underlined that we Amazonians can settle our differences amicably in a forum like this one, or by using our institutional framework to do so. For and on behalf of the 35,000 we have lost, I decorate Dr. Emmanuel Chita this day with a Medal of Honor and Integrity. How many of us will be bold enough to make that U-turn whenever we realize we've made the wrong judgment? Now, the blinded remnants of that hate enterprise is going bananas. They are hacking our websites and jubilating, stealing our intellectual properties and boasting. Let me assure you that they will understand in the days ahead the unlimited power of the American justice system. How can a man go to hunt an elephant but catch a neighbor's rat and call that success, claiming the rat is also a small elephant? They should have invested their energy they should have invested their energies in doing better, since they say they can, instead of staking their survival on a doomed takeover strategy. They are playing injury time to stop the IG and give La Republic contractors additional reasons to delay the inevitable talks with Amazonia with the IG as principal. The blood of our fallen heroes shall speak against every spoiler of our revolution, in their going out and in their coming in. I'm not a prophet, but wait and see their unhappy ending. Fellow Amazonians, dear stakeholders, I am only your captain, and I am not the owner of this boat. You are. For the past 4 months, I and my crew tried very hard without success to stem the rise of lawlessness in our revolution. We tried in vain to uphold the rule of law as the fundamental tenet of our new nation. We tried in vain to wrestle against the culture of hate and mutual destruction in our liberation machine. As but one supposed arm of government, the Restoration Council transformed itself into an opposition party, rallying every piece of dissent and negative emotions within the struggle to create a hit squad against me, fueled by lies, misinformation, frustration, anger, and greed. Being the stakeholders and owners of this struggle that you are, I decided to summon you here in this solemn convocation much sooner than expected, to assume your sovereign place in this struggle and decide on the way out and the way forward. I decided we give you, the silent majority, the true sponsors of this liberation quest, the opportunity to combine your whispers to your voices, to combine your whispers so your voices can be heard loud and clear, so you can take the lead and Amazonians will follow. This is our opportunity to tell the world how governance in Amazonia will look like. A government of the people, for the people, and by the people. I say this without suggesting that we are already in the governing phase of our endeavor. We are still in the liberation phase. However, the democracy we need now is that which is limited in height and or size by our established agreements, laws, established creeds, and our collective resolve. We call that building a constitutional culture for our new nation. Today, this ASSC2 gives every one of us, stakeholders, the opportunity to take over once more the giant steering wheel of our liberation train from drivers who now think they own us, people who rubbish our laws, trash our constitution, and despise our voices, people whose public display of ignorance is making a mockery of our God-ordained struggle in the eyes of many of our serious international partners. The Restoration Council, our institution, the Restoration Council, has been hijacked, confiscated, and extremely bastardized by some who are not answerable to you, the stakeholders gathered here today. We have the option to fight to redeem its image from the sticky mud of shame and disgrace, or abandon it, rebrand it, make it a honorable house again for our collective aspirations. LGAs are the basic units of our liberation machine. There will not be any resistance today. No draft for our ARFs, no interim government structure without our LGAs. Our central government should therefore be constituted by the representatives of these strategic cells called LGAs. Yes, the IG was created as a conglomerate of independent organizations in the diaspora and friends of the movement, known as country and regional coordinators then. That era has passed. This struggle has from 2018 stands on the shoulders of LGAs and counties. No more, no less. For any formation or group of people to have the final say on the matter of steering this revolution, who don't represent the will of these LGAs, is self-representation without a mandate. The question we should answer is, can a man like Mr. Cometa, who represents an SCNC faction, not a contributing LGA or county, be given the absolute power to make the rules of a war his organization does not fund? That is leadership without a constituency. A dissolution of that so-called Restoration Council by this sovereign gathering of stakeholders is the prayer of many Amazonians. I recommend we collapse it and replace it with a more befitting name, such as House of Representatives.
It is okay for those in the room to applaud the president.
The chair also be renamed Mr. or Madam Speaker. I think being a chair is erroneously associated with executive functions. Little wonder why Mr. Cometa, the chair of the defunct Restoration Council, arbitrarily assumed to have executive power to supervise the 61 LGAs, call audits, issue executive orders, amend the constitution, or organize elections unilaterally. Maybe if his title was Mr. Speaker, he probably would have been reminded that House of Assembly or Representatives only speaks laws, the executives implement, or that speakers don't speak and implement as they choose. That is lawlessness and total disorder in the struggle. Let me set up some expectations in this conference. For the APP committee, we must do a stock taking, a SWOT analysis of our APP model that was served, that has served this revolution more than any other, if there were any before. We put this model in place in Berlin, and today we can come out with amendments that will ensure better performance. So the APP committee will be doing a tremendous work reviewing our model as we have it today. There are organizational changes and inputs that we must consider to strengthen our liberation apparatus. For example, the issue of civil society in our home front on ground zero must formally be integrated into our administrative structure progressively to form shadow executive bodies in each local government and county to create the enabling environment for easy establishment of the transitional authority after our restoration is fully actualized. We should strengthen our conflict resolution and supervisory efficacy, fortify the IOC, and make it more proactive in supervising the financial aspects of our national projects. Set up oversight committees in all counties to supervise all county projects and report to the IOC. And the IOC or the OC, the Oversight Committee of the county, should require periodic project updates for all projects managers and report same to hierarchy. The IOC and the OC should hear disputes in a timely manner and make recommendations to hierarchy. On the Defense Committee, my dear stakeholders, the AFSC2 Committee for Self-Defense and Security is working in the back end to consider your recommendations to make our ARFs a strong national army that will guarantee our victory in the war and the ability to defend the freedoms of the new republic. We created the ANSC in Berlin 3 years ago. Its progress is being evaluated. We want to make sure that the ANSC is the backbone of our defense apparatus after this ASSC2. Unlike the Amazonia Self-Defense Council and Victoria Relief Foundation, we will not create structures and organizations that will be grabbed by spoilers, by people who use them for our detriment. Let's nourish, cherish, and fix all the good products of our vision so we don't scatter every time we want to make progress. We will bridge every gap between the IG and our restoration army. On the constitutional side, this ASSC2 committee is not here to revise the interim constitution. That will be a job for a constitutional amendment or review committee. But we hope to achieve certain resolutions that should form the basis for some needed amendments to our interim constitution. In a nutshell, the committee was put in place to collect your opinions, summarize them in expert terms, and present them to this General Assembly so we may consider our decisions from this assembly as assignments cut out for those you have put in authority to manage this revolution. We are here to receive your marching orders. Never again should anyone go into his or her room and churn out pieces of papers to replace our constitution. We, the people, must not only uphold that document with jealousy, but cherish it and hold it as sacred above every individual in power. General organization. Our country and regional coordinators are very important stakeholders belonging to the executive arm of this interim government. We should be able to recommend that we appoint them officially as our ambassadors to the nations. And that is who they really are. They constitute our national coordination for diplomacy, which should be in the front line of our diplomatic infrastructure worldwide. This should henceforth be appointed by the central government as ambassadors to represent our struggle in the different countries and regions of the United States and Canada. We should continue to work wisely with Team ACT in a policy of strategic engagement. I recommend we work to preserve ACT as Ambazonia's association for negotiation, to facilitate our negotiation process with La Republic of Cameroon. That does not take away the veto power from this interim government, being the principal on the Ambazonian side. We will not remain in ACT just because we agree on everything. Let's be there because we agree on one thing, to talk with La Republic on the same side. The interim government is leader, so we should lead and provide leadership in this crucial phase of our endeavor. Fellow Ambazonians, if you needed any angel to lead this struggle, I will not be here because I have many weaknesses. And unlike my critics, I make mistakes. If you're looking for a Shakespearean orator that would charm you with flowery language, I will not be here because I am not one. If you are looking for a rich guy to free Ambazonia, I will not be here because I don't have what it takes to buy our freedom. If you are looking for your dream leader, I will not probably be here because I don't think for many of you, I will fit your mold. I'm here because I was selected by an act of God. The God of Ambazonia, believe it or not, knew that I will fight a good fight without blinking, that I am resolved to land this boat, whatever the waves, never by the shores of our enemies, but at the feet of our capital city, Buea. He knew that I will be ready to do so without selling out to the killers of our 35,000 plus. And I know enough not to be used or deceived by flesh and blood on this matter. I know enough not to be confused by the smartest crooks who will ever gang against our revolution. I know enough not to be intimidated by rogues and haters. I know enough to guarantee that Ambazonia will not be cheated again on the table by any broker. Dear freedom fighters, I will not be perturbed by even a mountain of baseless allegations, insults, lies, and innuendos on social media by online bullies. Yes, I have built enough capital, character-wise, to never steal from those who are desperately looking up to me for survival. We have sacrificed enough and paid the price necessary to expect nothing short of the total independence of Ambazonia restored. The enemy, especially La Republic of Cameroon and France, believe me when I say these things that some of you give me credit for. But one day, our history shall be read by another generation, far removed from our confusion today, and they shall separate the true heroes from the villains of our time. I wish you a wonderful and fruitful ASSC2 Welcome to Washington 2022. Viva the stakeholders of our liberation quest. Viva the Federal Republic of Amazonia, and God bless our beautiful nation.
Let's unmute everyone and just let.
Mr. President. Well
Everybody is free already. Everybody is free already. Yeah.